Hello Gate. She waited more than 4 decades to say the words. Sitting quietly at 63, Melissa Sue Anderson finally opened the chapter she kept sealed for most of her life, the one with Karen Grassle's name written at the top. Fans had always sensed there was something left unsaid between the two Little House on the Prairie stars. But when Melissa finally spoke, her voice carried the weight of childhood, fame, and memories that still trembled at the edges. And as her confession echoed across the room, one question lingered like smoke: why did it take her so long to tell the truth? And what had she been protecting all this time? Long before the spotlight found her, Melissa was just a quiet little girl born in Berkeley, California, in 1962, a place humming with ideas, experimentation, and bold artistic spirits. She was the second daughter in a home shifting beneath the cultural waves of the 60s. Her sister, 12 years older, felt more like a gentle guardian than a playmate. And when the family moved to Los Angeles at the age of 7, Melissa didn't know it yet, but she was being placed directly on destiny's doorstep. It was a decision that would lead her toward both unimaginable success and emotional pressure no child ever truly prepares for. By 13, her family had been cracked apart by divorce. Melissa stayed with her mother, a devout Catholic who tried to keep a tight grip on structure, faith, and stability. But the world outside their home was already pulling Melissa into something bigger. Commercials came first: Mattel, Sears, little roles where she learned how to hold herself in front of the camera with a calmness beyond her years. A perceptive dance teacher noticed her spark and urged her family to find an agent. Once she stepped into those audition rooms, casting directors saw what the teacher did: a girl who could say more with her eyes than most actors could say with a monologue. She moved through early TV roles quickly, landing an unforgettable moment on The Brady Bunch when she shared a shy, sweet kiss with Bobby Brady. She popped up in crime dramas like Shaft, proving her range long before she understood the word career. But everything changed when she was 11. Melissa didn't just book a role, she stepped into television history. Mary Ingalls.it became more than a character. It became a second identity. From 1974 onward, Melissa Sue Anderson became part of America's living room, the quiet emotional anchor of Little House on the Prairie. And standing beside her, every day on set, was Karen Grassle, the woman millions knew as Caroline Ma Ingalls. To the world, Grassle was warm, calm, and endlessly nurturing. And to young Melissa, she was often the same. She remembered Karen as a soothing presence when the set grew tense, someone who carried herself with a dignity Melissa watched carefully, almost studying her without meaning to. But behind the soft glow of the prairie sun, the truth was more complicated. As the show grew, so did the pressure. Melissa was pushed into emotionally intense storylines, including Mary's blindness, long before most kids learn how to manage their own feelings. Meanwhile, Grassle navigated her own battles, long hours, creative arguments, and a famous but fiery showrunner, Michael Landon. Melissa didn't understand the politics, but she felt the tension. Sometimes it drifted across the set like a cold wind. She stayed close to Landon, while Grassle fought for her character, her voice, and her worth. Two worlds, both heavy, both trying to survive the same storm, but drifting further apart. And this was only the beginning of the heartbreak. Melissa admitted, for the first time, that she and Grassle didn't share the bond fans assumed. "I stayed in my own bubble," she said. Karen had hers. There was no dramatic feud, no whispered betrayal, just distance. Emotional distance. Professional distance. The kind that grows in silence until no one remembers where it started. But what came next would shock everyone years later, when Grassle opened up publicly about her conflicts with Landon, the one she had kept quiet for decades. Melissa finally understood something she never recognized as a child. She realized how much weight Grassle had carried alone. How hard she fought to make Ma Ingalls meaningful, grounded, human. And how deeply she must have hurt when things behind the scenes didn't match the wholesome family image the world adored. Melissa's own life moved on: Emmy wins, film roles, international recognition, marriage to writer Michael Sloan, motherhood, and eventually a quiet move to Canada where she rebuilt a life far from Hollywood's relentless noise. But time has a way of softening the past. Loss does too, especially after Sloane's heartbreaking passing in 2025. And somewhere along the years of raising children, healing old wounds, and rediscovering herself, Melissa found clarity. A clarity that made her finally ready to speak Grassle's name with honesty. "You get older," she said softly, "and you start thinking about who protected you, who guided you, who challenged you." Then came the confession fans never expected. "I didn't always see it then," she said, her voice warm and steady, but Karen did all of that for me. In her own way. It wasn't dramatic. It wasn't accusatory. It wasn't designed to stir gossip. It was closure. Real, human, overdue closure. She admitted she admired Grassle's strength now more than ever. Her willingness to fight for the heart of the show. Her ability to stay composed when the set cracked with tension. Her commitment to a character who became a symbol of American motherhood. She was a cornerstone, Melissa whispered. She deserves every bit of respect she gets. And just like that, the walls of silence that stood between the two actresses for decades didn't collapse, they dissolved. Quietly. Gently. Like two distant figures finally walking into the same light. Today, with a lifetime behind her, Melissa Sue Anderson looks back not with bitterness, but with gratitude. The Prairie may have been fictional, but the people on it shaped her forever. She didn't just speak about Karen Grassle, she honored her. She healed something she didn't even know was broken. And in that healing, she reminded the world that even the brightest childhood memories have shadows, and sometimes the most beautiful truths take 40 years to find their voice. They didn't just play a family. They became one, complicated, imperfect, unforgettable. What part of Melissa's journey touched you the most?